Okay, welcome to the P race. Category C. We've got 82 guys starting out. Typical fast start. I'm the guy in the blue and white with the green Tron bike there, and I've done a couple of shorter B races here lately, and but those were like 20-minute races. And this race was going to be like an hour 15, and I cannot put out B numbers for an hour and 15 minutes, so I opted to do the C, even though Zwift is telling me I'm now a B rider. And yeah, so spoiler alert, I end up getting DQ'd. In fact, a number of guys got DQ'd from this race. It's all good. It was exactly the kind of workout that I wanted. I didn't want to be flat out the whole race. I wanted to get some hard efforts in with a steady efforts in between and have something left to sprint at the end, and that's the way it kind of worked out. So I think I saw GP Llama had posted a video, and that the new algorithm is averaging your last 3 races. But I don't really understand exactly how Zwift determines whether or not, because I come in for this race, I came in at like 3.0, so well below the upper limit for C race. Anyway, I'm gonna pop in at from time to time and with a little my take on what's happening on the course, and in between I'll play some music. So you only get 3 power-ups for the whole 32 miles. So you need to use them pretty sparingly. You get the first one here at the end of the sprint. I'm not sure about this, but it seems like, so I got 2 feathers and then an arrow, which was like perfect. So I'm thinking that might be a set thing, but man, maybe not. Maybe I just got lucky. So I'm just going to give us a little flavor of the start here so you can see what kind of effort, but I'm going to jump around to mainly the climbs. Boom, right on cue. So this is the first little climb where you're leaving the desert and going to the sand and sequoias area, and it's not that steep a climb, but it is long, and it's definitely a section on Watopia Waistband where gaps can occur and guys can go. So you need to be vigilant and stay up towards the front. And yeah, okay, so I see guys using their draft, I see guys using their feather here. There are definitely way harder sections on this route where you could use either of those items. I mean, if you're gonna blow, you're gonna blow, and you probably need to use it, but definitely try to hang on to those for later in the race. So yeah, this is it. That's the end of the climb there. You just need to be vigilant to this point here, and then it's a downhill. You can recover from that effort there. Okay, so now we've jumped ahead, and so this is the little climb coming out of the aquarium area. And after this, you have sections of gravel and then pier. And so, you know, the surface in Zwift affects your speed. You're going to go from smooth tarmac here, just like it would in real life. When you go from smooth tarmac to a rough wooden pier, or like this gravel that we have coming up, it's going to slow you down, especially if you're a lighter rider. And so this area all through here is very often a place where a brake will go. So this is definitely another area where you have to be vigilant, paying attention to, you know, what's happening up front with the gaps and the numbers that guys are putting out. Then after you get out of this area, it's basically a slow, steady slog of a climb. So you need to stay in the top quarter of the race in case anything opens up. All right, so we've jumped ahead. Yeah, this is where the climb peaks out, and it hits 5 to 3% there, as you saw. Definitely another spot where guys will push it on that little short bit and open a gap. So now we're heading over to the volcano, and you see I still have my feather that I got way back in the desert. This is the spot where you want to burn it. Right here, boom. It jumps up to 7% there, and then it's pretty steadily 5% all the way up to this curve. This is very often a spot where a selection is made. I probably went a little too hard, but I was out of the saddle, I was feeling good, and there's another steep little riser as you come around the corner here, so I was just trying to keep my speed up because it's good to carry speed into a climb. And I wanted to make the most of that feather. But yeah, all through here on the volcano area, you got to be up near the front because brakes go from this spot all the time. Guys are tired from that steep climb. And in fact, right in through here after it levels out is often a spot where something rolls up the road. Okay, so we've jumped ahead back through the desert. We've come back out, and the thing, like I said, this spot here with the changing texture, it has happened. We have a group. Initially, I think it's 2, but then as you see it open up, you can see it's 4 guys, and I realized, oh crap, yeah, that's pretty serious. So I'm trying to work my way up to the front of the group in case it's going to go. And being a lazy sprinter, once I get to the front, I'm looking at what the guys in front of me are doing, and they're doing, you know, they're doing above 4. And I'm also mindful of the fact this is a C race, and I don't want my numbers to be too high. Of course, it ended up not mattering. I got DQ'd anyway, even though I think I only ended with like 3.0 average. Those guys they were putting up upper 3s, 4.0. They're right there. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to pull them back. Let's see. gap's still there, but the guys up front are still, you know, mid threes, sometimes the 4 range. So I'm still just chilling to see what's gonna happen. Okay, so it's a 2-second gap. They're like right there, but Pantoja, that dude is on the front. Every time I saw, he was well above 4 and pushing 5. So they're not coming back easy, and I put in a little dig here. I'm mindful of, I'm not trying to create separation, and I see that the guy behind me is within the 5 meters. I'm just trying to get our pace up. I don't want to go up there and work with 4 guys for 7 miles. One, because I'm the lazy sprinter kind of guy, and it just wasn't the kind of workout that I wanted today. So I put in a little dig there, hoping that other guys will pick it up, and maybe we'll bring those 4 back. So jumped ahead to that critical climb in the volcano area. There's one guy up front. He jumped out of our group. I'm not sure why, because obviously those guys, you're not gonna bridge to them on the front on your own. Yeah, I had a feather, so I made another dig here to see if we could close the gap up to those guys. I think for the most part, I mean, there wasn't like a super concerted effort, but a lot of people don't understand how the draft works. There were a few instances of guys up front doing upper threes, 4.0, and a guy behind them is doing 2.6. And even though you're doing like a watt and a half less than somebody, you will sometimes slide in front of them. And for a moment, when you go in front of them, they stick to you, even though they're doing a much higher wattage, and it will actually bring the speed of the group down. But generally speaking, I think we did a good job of making sure the guy who was actually putting out the watts was the one who was on the front. But those guys up front are rocking and rolling. So yeah, we jumped through downtown and we're back in the desert. It's 1.2 miles to go, and you guessed it, the 4 guys up front, they were gone, never to be seen again. As you can imagine, if I got DQ'd, they definitely got DQ'd. We'll see at the end what their numbers were. So ideally, for me, I'd love to just stay right where I am right here. I'm watching those guys up front. I'm a little concerned about it, but I'm watching all the numbers all the watts per kg numbers of the guys in front, and it seems like, oh yeah, so I thought this guy right here to my right was Sandman. He's not. He's Jay Kremer, and if you look to the right, you'll see he doesn't show up in the name list. So I'm looking at Sandman's numbers and thinking I'm on him and going to get pulled back, and that happens. You'll be behind somebody. You look over to see in the name list what kind of watts he's doing, and he's not there. If you look, you'll see Jay Kremer doesn't show up in that. So watch out for that. That can work against you. I thought Kremer was doing 4.4 watts per K. I'm like, oh, he's going to bring us back. And no, I'm looking at the guy who's tacked on to the back of the group. Luckily, I picked that up soon enough that it wasn't an issue. So 0.6 to go. Would love to be on the back tail gunning. I'm constantly looking at the numbers that everybody's doing. Because sometimes you'll spot in the numbers that somebody's gone before you'll see from their character rising out of the saddle. These guys were so that's the guys who were gone up front sprinting. If you see the orange numbers up top, they just finished. So not too far ahead, but enough to do. These guys are cool as cucumbers. 0.2 to go, and I'm feeling a little itchy. I start bringing it up, sit down here to pop my feather, and then now I'm committed. I'm on the front. I got to go. We'll see if my arrow boost lasted me. I'm looking back. I'm seeing that I've got the gap. Yeah, it runs out pretty close. I kind of shut it down here because I saw I had enough. So, yeah, I'll scroll up here in a second. We can see what those guys up front did, what their numbers were. So yeah, there you see my numbers. 3.0 for the race. Howard DQ'd, Richardson DQ'd. Scrolling down through to see where those other C's, what their numbers were. Yeah, 3.3 for hour 14, 15, 3.5, 3.4, 3.8. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this isn't the Tour de France. That might be the kind of workout they wanted. So hats off to those guys. They made a break happen, and they got some solid work in. Linder here, John, I think. He actually ends up winning it. He's the first guy to not get DQ'd. So yeah, congratulations to Linder.